What up? What up? We in here. We in here. We in here. Trying to give you our best. We got a call-in show. We got a new digs. I told y'all I was coachable. We in here, y'all. Welcome to Bang Bang. We switching some things up. We got a call-in show today. I want to talk about the 49ers, and we are here. We got the off season coming up, guys, and the dead period's coming. And right about now, what I want to do is every week I want to hear from the guests. I want to hear from the fans, the supporters. I want to hear your point of view. And every time we hear your point of view, it's something that we can't get enough of, quite frankly. And what I'm going to do right now is get my hind parts in the description because you guys need a link to be able to get in the show. For where it stands right now, the 49ers have put themselves in the best position possible as far as where they need to be able to go get a Super Bowl. What say you? Do you disagree with that? Right? Do you disagree with the 49ers being in the best position possible in order to go get a Super Bowl this year? What worries you? Right? I feel like we're very, very critical of the team. I need constructive criticism. What specifically worries you about the team? What do you need to see going into camp? Also, what do you guys need to see from certain players going into camp? And then also, I need to know what's positive, right? What is something that you see that the 49ers need to do in a positive light? And if they get these things done, they'll be okay. Not only if they get these things done, but they're already doing these things, right? So right now, the link is in the bio right now. Click on the link. I want you guys to pile in here, and I'm here to have a discussion with you guys, man. I understand that we come in different, and everybody has their own different point of view, but that's what makes us family. That's what makes us family, right? And, we got to be able to do things for clarity's sake, right? We need to be able to understand where everybody's point of view is, and I understand it's going to take a little time for people to pile in here because I just put the link out. But, I feel like the 49ers are at an impasse right now, right? We're at a crossroads. And with us being at a crossroads, we have to understand, are we in transition mode, right? Are we transitioning? Are we reloading? Where specifically are we right now? How do you feel about where we're heading this season, right? Is there a transition period this season where you feel like, hey, week 8, we're at a losing record. I feel like it's time for us to start circling the wagons and see what we have in our younger guys, maybe start trimming the fat. Maybe we start off hot. Brandon Ayuk comes in on his $14 million deal. He doesn't get the deal done. And he's playing, as a malcontent begrudgingly because he has to play for his $14 million this year. And in the middle of the season, he gets on a hot burner. 3-4 games over 120 yards catching, 2 TDs, maybe 1 apiece. The Niners fall in love. BA sees the light. They get it done in the middle of the season. I mean, things are contextual. Things are contextual, right? Anything can happen, guys. We have Kyle Shanahan given his recent comments in the latest press conference coming in, saying how he feels about everybody. Kyle seems to be unfazed, as he should be, right? Kyle seems to be unfazed. But for what it's worth, Where's his pivot? Where do we see Kyle changing? Where do we see pitfalls or certain deltas to be crossed for Kyle during the season that he needs to be able to get over, right? And what games are those? What weeks are those, right? We're looking at the 49ers season coming up this year, and, you know, they did us no favor. They did us no favors this year with our schedule, right? We're coming in with last year. Last year, we finished strong, went to the Super Bowl, and I feel like we had some lulls in the season that helped us along the way. We had our 3-game losing skid, but we had some favorable matchups last year. But this year, we got the Jets in Week 1, Monday, September 9th, 8:15 p.m. That's going to be a litmus test. Those are some of the games that you really want to see early, right? It's not anybody, you know, and in a way, let me check myself. In a way, it is kind of the same stakes, really, are for Week 1 that we had with the Jets, right? Versus that we have with the Jets versus we had with the Pittsburgh Steelers. But if you think about it, the Steelers, they probably had a little bit more to have to deal with if you come from their standpoint of, man, the Steelers, we were on the road, right? Cross country, playing against a grizzled team, right? That had a good run game, okay? Had a solid defense. And at some point you have to say, you know, where were we coming into Week 1 last year, right? We didn't really know what we were going to get out of Brock coming into Week 1. We knew that Christian McCaffrey was going to be used at a high clip, but we didn't know how much. We got gaslit into thinking that Drake Jackson was going to be a dog because he had 3 sacks. If you're young enough to remember that game, I remember that game. And really, the Niners showed improved on the road cross country against a really solid team that is known to do what they need to do against great opponents, especially at home. And if you think about it, man, the Jets coming over to our place with Robert Saleh and Aaron Rodgers being able to show up and try to do their best against us, I don't want to put 20 on 10 and say that the stakes are too high. But right now we got my man in here, Brother Bob. I'm saying, put my man up. What's going on, bro?
What's going on, man?
How you doing, bro?
Good. You?
I'm pretty good, man. Just building the platform, trying to give everybody I can. You know what I'm saying? Another day, man. How you been?
Another day, another dollar.
Mm-hmm. What's on your mind, bro?
Well. Should we? Is it me or do I hear echo?
Nah. That's probably on you. You all right now?
I'm good. Well, I can hear myself. It's cool. You know, sexual chocolate. Anyway, no. Here's the thing, man. Here's the thing. Okay. So I don't know if it's me. I know you got a new sound system.
Mm-hmm.
All right, maybe it's just me. You can take the next caller. I don't know why. I do hear it.
Nah, go ahead, Bob. You can talk.
Okay, all right, for sure. But everyone's saying it's a bad echo, bro. Got a lot to say too, but okay, there we go. No echo now. We good? I think we're good, bro. Now the echo. All right.
Go ahead, talk, Bob.
Hold on. Maybe I'll turn down my. Can you hear me? We good?
Yeah, you might need to turn down your volume.
All right. Man, this never happened on Premiere before, so I'll have to fix it. All right, bro. Let me call back and see if I can put you back in there. Any on stick backstage or whatever.
Bob, you're fine. They're saying you're good to go. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. So I want to talk about positive things. You want to start off with that? All right.
All
I
right.
think the
I think the
positive thing,
positive thing,
honestly, is the
honest, is the
fact,
fact,
bro,
bro,
that we
that
still
we
have a
still
lot of
have a lot
talent
of
on this
talent on
team.
this team.
I think we
I think
probably
we probably
have
do have
the
the
best
best
talent in the
talent in the
NFC.
NFC.
And I know I
And I
give
know I
Kyle
give
Levy a
Kyle
lot
Levy
of
a lot
ish,
of ish,
but I
but
do
I
think
do think
he's a
he's
good
a
coach.
good coach.
My thing,
My
though,
thing,
is
though, is
staying with the
staying with the
positive.
positive.
I do
I
like
do
seeing
like
us
seeing us
address the
address the
O-line a
O
little
line a
bit
little bit
in the
in
draft,
draft,
as well
as
as
well
us.
as us.
Bro, do you
Bro,
have
do you have
YouTube going?
YouTube going?
I don't know.
No,
I don't know. Anyway,
Okay.
no, I don't.
okay.
So
So
I think it's good
I
that
think
we
it's good that
address
we
the
address the O
O-line.
line. I think it's good that
we get
we
a
get
best
the best
receiver.
receiver.
But I want
But I want to know your opinion
on
on
BA.
BA
Because I think
because I think I've seen one of your shows.
I don't
I don't
have
have you.
Anyway,
Anyway,
seen on
seen on one of your shows where you talk about you wouldn't pay 30 million
BA.
BA.
Would you?
Bob, do you have YouTube playing on your computer?
I
I don't, bro.
I really don't.
Do you have YouTube playing on your computer, Bob?
I don't.
I don't.
You want to share?
You want to share my?
I don't have YouTube.
Nah. All right. So for now, we're good. So basically the question that you're asking me is, would I pay BA or not? And through past shows, you said that you have seen me say that I would not pay BA.
30 million.
Right. I would not pay him 30 million. So look, I'll put it like this. If you look at what $30 million constitutes for how he will be able to be used in the offense, other players would have to give up their skill set in order for him to be utilized at $30 million a year. When you have a receiver that's worth $30 million a year, there's, everybody in the building knows that he's getting paid. Everybody in the building knows that he's getting the best routes, the guy to have it down, he's going to get open. And there also has to be a synergy between the quarterback and BA as well. I just don't think that, put it like this. What situation in the NFL do you know where the receiver is getting paid $30+ million a year? I can only think of one, but there's the receivers getting paid $30+ million a year, and he's not linked to another quarterback where it's his offense. The quarterback is his offense. There's only one team that mimics what you think we're trying to do right now. There's only one team, and in my opinion, it's Miami. Miami is the only team that has a system-oriented offense, okay, with a middling to decent good quarterback, with an all-star receiver, okay, with an all-star receiver making not 30 but $50+ million a year. And we're not here to disparage BA, but BA is not on Tyreek Hill's level, right?
Okay, but here's my
point.
I don't know
why does that.
But
anyway, my point is this, man. What do you think
that the
that
Niners,
would actually do
with that
money?
Not what
they should do,
but what would they actually do with the extra money they save
from not in NBA?
Let me see if I can switch to my phone. Because I don't know why there's this echo. Man.
I'm muted.
Okay.
I'm muted, Jesse. Yeah.
All right. I'll call back in on my phone, bro. I don't know what's going on my laptop.
It's cool, bro. It's cool. So really, I'm gonna tell you right now. We got Eric. Eric, are you ready for me? Just let me know when you're ready for me, Eric Wallace. But What I will tell you, Eric, you can't be.
Somebody.
Eric is chatting and wait. What's up, bro? How you doing, Eric?
I'm doing okay, but I today.
I'm doing good.
Okay.
What you got for me, man?
Well, I'm actually a Seahawks fan, but I believe that Brock Purdy is really a great quarterback.
I understand that. Can you tell me why you believe he's a great quarterback?
Well, he's coming to Seattle 2 times, a very valued lineman, and he's won both times.
Okay, so he's had a very he's had neutral environments and he's won both times. What is your definition of great?
Somebody who can win games.
Literally, that's it.
Well,
So just winning games is considered that's considered the only stat that makes a great quarterback in your opinion, Eric?
Well, he can throw a lot of touchdown passes. I know that some of the results in the postseason do not reflect results, but I
Eric, you muted yourself.
okay.
All right.
Yeah. The last one I think he had.
The last one you think he had what?
I think he won. He should have had that Super Bowl. It was just the coin toss was the problem.
So you believe the coin toss was the problem in the last? So you believe the coin toss was the problem that tipped the scales in the last game they played?
Well, like in overtime, he should have taken the ball.
So you think in overtime we should have taken the ball? Is that the only critique you have?
Not a critique. I'm good.
How do you feel about your team thus far? You got a new head coach. You guys did pretty good in the draft. How do you think you'll fare this year in the NFC West?
Well, we're gonna find out. But I believe that the games Seattle and San Francisco, I really don't know what's going to happen in those games. But I can tell you that you guys are a very good team, and I might not like the outcome.
Well, we'll see during the season, man. Thank you for calling, Eric.
No problem.
All right. So obviously there seems to be something going on with the dreaded audio. I understand, Rob D. Yes. It was clunky. Right now, anybody who's added in, there seems to be an echo. Right now, I'm sitting here trying to figure out exactly what it is. You guys can keep calling in and use the link in the description. But for what it is right now, I'm just trying to understand exactly why there is an echo on the output rating. I've gone through and went through into the output rating and seen to go into the main mix, going into custom, and right now it seems like everything. There was no show. There was no show with Larry today. Kevin actually graduated today, so that's one thing that we had to do is take a break from streaming on our show today because Kev graduated. So Larry and I are going to be back at it next week. But for now, we're just sitting here trying to get this call-in show together. I mean, as far as it's concerned, it seems to be I am the common denominator. Brother Bob came in here and so exciting conversationalist Eric came in, and it seems as though that the echo issue is on my end. I'm sitting here looking at the audio sources for callers to come in, and it might be fixed, but we'll see. But for what it stands right now, I think the biggest thing that's going to be the topic of the season for the 49ers is the trenches. And right now, it seems like there is right now it seems like there is a big difference between how we customarily start seasons and how we're going to start them this year. Usually the defensive line in the front seven is always the tip of the spear of our team. It's somebody who it's a unit that we don't usually have to worry about, and it's our deepest unit. Usually with our offensive line, we're always trying to figure out how they will ingratiate themselves with the season and become an asset. But this year it seems as though that the defensive line is really in flux, particularly the front seven. And with the team being in flux with the front seven, I think that we need to see if we've done enough. That's going to be something that we need to pay attention to moving into this season to see if we've done enough in the defensive line with bringing in Malik Collins, Jordan Elliott, having a new edge duo with Grass Matus and Leonard Floyd, understanding how that's all going to tie together. One of the things that I want to see right now is what are we going to do interiorly with our defensive line in order to stop the run, and who's going to step up at that other inside linebacker spot with the absence of Dre Greenlaw. Is Devontae Campbell really going to take over that spot, or is D Winters or Jalen Ram going to take over that, going to be able to push that competition, be able to push it in, take it into something different? Also, one thing that I wanted to recognize is our offensive line seems to be in the best position that it's been in a long time. Now, we can talk about the offensive line not being exactly the best asset of our team, but that's by design. We do not prioritize the sport, right? Or we don't prioritize the position. And with us not prioritizing the position, we don't look like everybody else. And on top of it, we don't get the job done like everybody else, especially on the ground. Man. So one thing that I wanted to be able to talk about is exactly how our offensive line is trying to push themselves into becoming more of an asset rather than a liability. And if you understand why we're moving into a better direction, it's because of the competition. It's exactly what's supposed to push our team into the upper echelon of where they belong for being in Super Bowl contention. We have to understand that we got 3 at-large positions in competition right now for our offensive line. It's center position with Jake Brindle being down, Barch coming in, possibly being somebody that they like, which I need to be able to see it before I believe it. You also have Nugent, the UDFA, coming in, and that's supposed to be a competition. Also, where's Nick Zakelj? Trying to understand exactly where Nick Zakelj is in, trying to make his way onto the field, or is he just a permanent backup, or is this somebody who we're just waiting on to be ousted out of the show? I mean, ousted out of the show, let alone the team. Right now, there could be a battle for right guard with Dominic Pooney and Joe Feliciano and Spencer Burford. And also you could see Jarrett Kingston getting some love over at left guard due to the fact that the Niners may not be able to pay Aaron Banks moving into next season. As a matter of fact, I know they can't pay Aaron Banks moving into the next season at $14 million per. So one thing that I will say is that the Niners seem to have a lot of turnover at offensive line, but it's a different perspective than it usually has been in years past. Usually we're patching things together, or we have a solidified starting five of those that we know what they're good at, and we know what they're bad at, right? That's like having Lincoln Tomlinson in, understanding that Lincoln Tomlinson is going to give you good to adequate in the run game, but that's what he does. He's going to struggle in the pass game. Same thing with Mike McGlinchey. As a matter of fact, carbon copy. Then you have guys who just couldn't stay healthy. Justin School was a lovable loser in certain instances, bouncing around. Then you had Weston Richburg, who was another guy who couldn't stay healthy for us. So right now, in order for us to push all five of these offensive linemen into better than what they were last year, that being Trent, Aaron Banks, Jake Brendel, which we're hoping that he comes through, Spencer Burford and Colton McKivitz, or being better with the competitions that we have. And that's one thing that I'm happy about with offensive line, where, yes, on the outset, it did seem as though that having the team pick up Garrett Kingston and Jordan Pooney, Dominic Pooney, and, a couple of UDFAs, it seemed as though that we didn't really hit the mark. But in our market, for what we do with our offensive line, we've injected some real competition at offensive line that I really am excited to see coming into this year. This season, I'm looking to see exactly what, if BA shows up this year, just moving into everything that we have to do with our contract negotiations moving in. How much is enough as far as moving forward with BA, understanding that he wants upwards to the amount of $30 million. Brother Bob was in here earlier on he did his best. Now that I know, I feel so bad, Bob, because it's probably me, but with the audio situation. But what I will say is that BA wanting $30 million plus, it's either he doesn't believe in where the Niners can go, or he has no self-awareness. And he really does believe that for making that type of money, he's going to be utilized at a clip where, that it can make sense for him to even get paid that type of money, which I highly doubt. That's just the biggest thing with asking to get paid. I mean, everybody's been on, we're all professionals. Everybody's here has negotiated for their money. Everybody's pushed for more money, and everybody understands that if you ask for more money at your job, or you're trying to get what you're worth, you're going to have to be able to prove it. You're going to have to be able to show metrics, and it's not even so much as why you deserve to ask the question, but it's what are you going to do on the outset to prove that this money is worth it? How do we not look like idiots for paying you this, right? You don't just get money because you've done enough. That's gone. That production is over with. And for what it's worth, it didn't win us a Super Bowl. So when you get to this position, you got to understand, and we've said this before, I've said this on many channels before, I've said it here, contract negotiations are not for what you've done. They're for what you're going to do. What you have done earned you the right to have the opportunity to be able to negotiate. The negotiation starts when we start pacing out what you're going to do in the future. And the Niners kind of showed what they think of BA's skill set in the future by drafting Ricky Pearsall and trying to move him before the draft and trying to trade for Justin Jefferson, or at least inquiring. So for me, there's way too many instances that show that at the very least, the 49ers are covering their bases. At the very least. And at the very worst, at best, they're letting BA know that we're not going to be pushed around. We're not going to be gaslit into believing that just because you think you should get paid a certain dollar amount, that we're going to sit back and pay you this money. I just don't see it. I don't understand it. And I understand that markets don't compare, but echelons in markets compare, in my opinion. And Nick Bosa got paid $30+ million. Ask yourself this. I just want a yes or no in the chat. Is Nick Bosa, is Brandon Ayuk on Nick Bosa's level as a receiver? As a receiver. Right here, Jesse says, Last Second Sports, Ayuk should be the number one option in 2 seasons, so he's rightfully asking for the bag. Or he knows he won't get the shine, so pay him to be held back, which is also fair. Pay him to be held back? That don't and in what world do you pay somebody to be held back? Come on, man. Come on. And this right here is sacrilegious. BA is not on Nick Bosa's level. Stop, bro. I'm talking about comparable to what Nick Bosa. And then you know what? Let's not even talk about what Nick Bosa is now. Let's look at when Nick Bosa was going through his contract negotiations and the season he had just came off of. Did BA have a season where he was in the running or even a finalist for Offensive Player of the Year? Like, you got to understand, like, what Nick Bosa got and where BA is trying to say he belongs. And the type of season that Nick Bosa came off of when he got paid and how he conducted himself while he was going through his negotiations. These two things are not the same. You know what I'm saying? BA, I don't understand this. All right, that is where Ayuk is coming from. I also understand it from the 49ers side, but Ayuk knows he won't get another huge deal if he isn't getting the ball here. That plays. Dude, I understand that it doesn't necessarily play. I understand that it doesn't necessarily play if, he knows that he's not going to get the ball. All right. I understand that, he's not going to get another huge deal. But, I mean, styles make fights, right? And one of the things that you got to understand is that if BA wants to play on this side of the fence with his negotiations, he can't be mad if he gets moved somewhere that if he gets moved somewhere that's far less. There's way other situations that are different from the 49ers, bro. Like, I don't understand, like, where there's not this world where BA gets traded to some contender. I don't see that. I don't see BA going to KC. I don't see it. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to try this one more time. All right. I know. We're going to try this. Hold on. We're going to try this. Bob, you can talk. Hold on. Go ahead, Bob.
Do we still have an echo? All right.
I have no idea what you did to your volume. I can't hear you at all, bro. You're just not talking at all. You're muted. Unmute yourself, Bob. Mm-hmm. Being frustrated while you're live on camera is a skill. It is an absolute skill. I'm gonna tell you right now. He's spitting only a Bob could. Dog, I got no clue what. Yo, dang. He looked like he was cooking too. He looked like he was cooking, bruh. Man, I got no clue what is going on, bruh. But we gonna be able to keep it pushing, bruh. I understand. Look, I'm gonna tell you this, man. The Niners don't owe Brandon Ayuk any money. They don't owe him anything. You know what I'm saying? And they don't. The Niners don't owe any. They don't owe Brandon Ayuk anything. I hear Jesse and Bob, you guys are trying to bring up scenarios that don't exist. BA's asking for a certain amount of money because he's basically going to be dying on the vine with his skill set. That doesn't exist, bro. That does not exist. He's going to get used at a certain clip and he's going to get paid for the utilization. That's it. He's not in a bear market. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I mean, he's in a bear market. He's not in a bull market. He's not. That's the problem. The team that he's with right now doesn't necessarily overvalue or value number one receivers in this offense because Kyle doesn't utilize them in a $30 million a year way. That's why having Julio Jones was running too close to the sun. Because even having a receiver like that, Kyle hired into Julio Jones. He's never had anybody like that. I just don't see the offense being that traditional where you can understand where week in, week out, we understand that BA is going to get treated like Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, Tyreek Hill. That's the type of money he's asking for. Think about that. I'm not here to say, I'm not here to bash BA. I'm really not. But $30 million a year is top 5 receiver money. Can we agree on that? Before we go back to getting paid, before we get back to getting paid for what getting paid for basically dwindling his skill set or bastardizing what he can do in football. Can we agree or disagree that asking for, not if BA is top 5, because that's what gets people mixed up, is $30 million a year top 5 receiver money? Just answer that question. That's it. I want to see that in the chat. It's $30 million a year, top 5 receiver money. Because that's what it is. And you can't future-proof your money based on where you think the cap is going to fall. You ain't a quarterback. right? And that's not even his prerogative. That's something that the Niners would be entailed. They would be entailed to do that. Thank you. $30 million a year is top 5 receiver money. Now, you understand the very next question I'm going to come with. Is Brandon Ayuk a top 5 receiver? And if he's top 5, is he 5? Is he 4? And how do you prove that? Because it can't be by the numbers. It can't be by the numbers, guys. BA had 1,100 yards last year. He had 1,400 yards this year. All right? He averaged 3 catches a game in the playoffs, man. So if he's asking for 30, we can agree. I haven't seen a no in here yet. I would have pounced on it by now. If I haven't seen one no. If there's not one no in here that says that $30 million is not top 5 receiver money. If BA ain't top 5, then what we talking about? Yeah, thank you. I'm rocking with this. This is another thing too. Smack, I'm rocking with you. Not only that, if he was a top 5 receiver, Kyle would have gotten his price. We wouldn't be sitting here getting hosed for second round picks. If he was top 5 receiver, why didn't anybody bite? And if he was a top 5 receiver, then who is Justin Jefferson? And why did the Niners feel so entailed to go after him? Come on, man. It's not hard to see. It's not hard to see. BA is asking for money that's outside of his skill set. Not only that, but he's asking for money that ain't even going to be used. And you can't say that the delta between the money that he's earned versus the money he's not going to be used at is a thank you tax for us understanding that we're not utilizing our receiver to the best of his ability. Like, that doesn't play. That don't play. Not in my eyes. You can't make an excuse for why something doesn't work. Like, if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And if he gets paid $30 million and we're using him like a $24 million a year receiver, we're wasting $6 million. I don't care what reasons are. The money is the money. We're wasting the money. Agreed. You know what I'm saying? Ask yourself this, though. Ask yourself this. Is Debo used? Is Brandon Ayuk used the same way? Not the same way, but at the same clip as Debo? I'm telling you, like, Debo Samuels, the reason why Debo Samuels gets paid the money that he's getting paid is because of how easy it is to get him the ball. This is where it is. It's so easy to get Debo the ball. Please don't bring up the Super Bowl. Don't bring it up. But inside of Kyle's offense, the problem is that BA is just, skill set is good for what Kyle needs, but you have to ask yourself, is BA's skill set going to be something that would ever hone Kyle in to changing his offense, tweaking things? Or would BA's skill set be used exactly for what Kyle needs? Because in Kyle's eyes, I need to be able to get Debo the ball in open space. I need to be able to get Ricky Pearsall. I need to be able to get George Kittle the ball in open space. BA, you run phenomenal routes. You need to run off routes for us. You need to clear out quadrants of the field for us. You can get open, right? But then at the same time, another conversation we have to have, How often is Brock gonna get that ball there? Right? That's another thing. Like, how in the world we gonna get a Ferrari? How in the world we gonna get a Ferrari on a quarter-mile track, man? That ain't enough road. It ain't enough road. Quarter mile ain't enough, man. We got to get a full track. So why in the world we gonna pay BA where the beauty of what he does, all right, when you're talking about elite level, right, will be the route running, all of that stuff down the field. That's not happening in this offense. Shot plays, explosives. We've been hearing this stuff for years. Explosive plays. We love explosives, right? Kyle's got to have his explosives. We got to have play action pass, but being able to just wind it up, and we're one of the most infrequent deep throwing teams in the NFL. We are. Let me ask you this, Coach. All right, from Jess. Is BA off base for asking for this money? I agree the 49ers don't have to pay it, but he absolutely should be asking for this money. Is he standing on it? I guess that would be my reply to this. You can ask for what you want, and you could put it out there as a virtue signal to say, hey, I know what I'm worth. Hey, this is what I can aspire to. Based on the trajectory of where my numbers are during this time period, I should be getting paid. But there is something to be said about lack of self-awareness, man. Like just asking for something, and I feel like ramping it up. You know, like, I don't feel like BA asked. I don't feel like BA asked for $30 million. I feel like he got ready to ask for $30 million by unfollowing the Niners, liking other tweets, saying, hey, booing Mike Tomlin and the Steelers, and then standing on business in interviews with Mina Kimes, I believe, and then he just had a nightcap interview. I just think that in order for you to be asking for something like $30 million, a lot more, you got to be able to put some like respect behind that. You know, he cheapened it, in my opinion. He did. Nick Bosa, you didn't hear a word out of him when he was negotiating the type of deal that he was, because he understood that the money was there, the Niners were going to pay. And at the end of the day, why twist the knife? They got to pay me. So why twist the knife? Let me keep my mouth shut. I just feel like the disposition that we've been getting on BA's side is almost in a way of like, he almost knows that he's not going to get paid this money. And he knows that in a sense, he doesn't deserve it, no matter what the market says. All right. I understand that. I don't think he has lack of self-awareness. I think he has a lack of F's to give for the 49ers side of things, nor should he care. All right, look, so I understand that. But take your ass to another team and lose then. We were in the Super Bowl last year, right? There's only 2 teams that go to that thing. So essentially what you're trying to say is I've known nothing but winning. I've gotten developed here. I've gotten nurtured here. I have grown myself into one of the top echelon receivers in the league. And now when it's time for me to get my bag, I'm going no F's given. Let me bring this back up again. No F's given, though. We drafted you in the first round. No F's given. You've been to a Super Bowl and 2 NFC championship games since we drafted you. No F's given. That's not business, man. You can't get to the negotiation table and then start bean counting. Nobody likes a bean counter, man. Like, soon as the money's out, you know, we all go out to eat. The whole chat, it's 53 of us in here. We all go out to eat, right? The tab come. Here come Brother Bob talking about some. I didn't have no Diet Coke. Nobody likes a bean counter, man. Come on, man. Act like you've been there before, bruh. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's my opinion. You know, like, don't you're in the echelon of getting paid $30 million. You're 24 years old. Okay, look, get paid your $26 million. Make it 3 years. Have another bag in the prime of your life and in your career, and then go get your $30 million. Come on, man. Why we gotta run down there and get one? We could walk down there and get them all. Come on, man. You're young. You think you got the echelon to toe that type of line with an organization like the 49ers? This is business, bro. You know what I'm saying? I agree with this. I agree with this. It seems to be something there. It seems to be a little contentious. You know? Also, one thing that I also just want to close out with, because we can go on about BA all day, but I'll close out with this because I still want to be respectful. You know what I'm saying? At some point, and this is just not exclusive to BA, this is everybody. At some point, it's not going to matter about how much BA wants to get paid. He's going to become a bad teammate at some point. And that has nothing to do with his character. It has everything to do with, you know how football is. Football is a very get on the ship or get off the ship type of sport. We all know this. When the season starts, when camp starts, football is all about, I'm worried about who is here. If you ain't here, we are not worried about you. That's not exclusive to BA. That's the edict of football. Once the oars are up and we set sea, we're off on land until we get to our destination. And it's going to come to an impasse where if BA stands on this so much, it's going to get revealed just how petty this looks. I'm saying that because America does not care about you wanting to get paid millions of dollars. Like, nobody cares that you chose not to get paid 30 because you turned down 26. And oh, by the way, you don't want to show up to work for the 14 that you're about to get paid. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. So at the end of the day, you got to understand that contract negotiations is not only about football, but it's about entertainment. And you can't get paid if people don't want to see you play. Receivers are notorious for getting thrown in a bag. They're notorious for getting thrown in this contention bag. Right? So, look, we'll see. But sooner or later, something's going to have to happen with BA. Dank Dank says this team has a history of paying, maybe even overpaying. I think this is where the 49ers buck stops. It just might have stopped on the wrong guy. I agree with that. Right? It's nothing personal, but this is just, the door's got to close on somebody, and this just may be the door that's got to close. But at the same time, if I'm going to push back on this, I mean, you picked a hell of a time to let Christian McCaffrey scoot in, and it looks like Trent's walking in through the back door. So, what do you say to that if Trent gets paid? If Trent gets paid, tell me this. If you think I'm tripping or I have or this is viable, let me know if I'm tripping or not. But if Trent gets paid before BA, you would have to think the Niners have probably already moved on from BA and said, you know what, that's not happening. Let's go ahead and lock in what we have now. He's not a part of the core. He doesn't understand how this whole thing works. And, let's go ahead and lock in Trent now, right? Even though they're not inclined to sign Trent anyway, I think signing Trent would be stupid. But if it happened, would that not virtue signal towards that, though? Where it's like you had contract negotiations for the entire offseason, and we ended up signing 3 players on the offense. 4. We ended up signing 4 players on the offense, and they weren't you. And Colton McKivitz, Christian McCaffrey, Juwan Jennings, and possibly Trent Williams. Let me know if you think I'm tripping. All right, so Jesse just put up a tweet. Brandon Ayuk in the NFC Championship games, 29 routes ran, 7 were clear outs, 17 he got open, 4 times thrown to, 3 catches, 1 penalty drawn. Ayuk is poised to break out. Side note, first time watching the game in all 22, Jimmy was worse than I thought. My gosh, terrible. What game was this? NFC Championship game when? 2022? Right, but what's that got to do with the price of tea in China? We watch Jimmy cook the books ad nauseum all the time. If we're talking about players who deserve to be paid exactly what they're worth, then hey, let's have at it. Debo needs a pay cut. So does Kyle Juszczyk. We can stand to give BA his pay cut. Maybe give Trent a pay cut. He's a little too older, but that's just not the way it works. It doesn't work that way. Sorry. You trying to tell me that even in this 2022 NFC Championship game with BA, with the 29 routes, 7 clear outs, 17 routes he got open, 4 times thrown to, 3 catches and 1 penalty drawn. Even with that performance, are you trying to say that he even then was outperforming his contract? Or did the Niners draft a guy, develop him, and he was well on his way to becoming what they expected him to be? I mean, whose side are you on? Make it make sense. It's an organization conversation. So now the inmates are running the prison? So BA deserves a big deal just because we know that Jimmy sucks. I don't get it. I really don't. So, I mean, I understand. I mean, the way I see it is like, look, we got a lot of players that outperform and show themselves to be stars on the team. We got a lot of guys like that. Dre Greenlaw was a guy like that. Emmanuel Mosley was a guy like that. Come on, man. We can go all day. Jimmy Ward was a guy like that. What you mean? So now BA's the only overachiever that the Niners have seen? That's it? Now all of a sudden, because we see so much more than what BA could be, now he deserves this crazy deal? Come on, man. I don't get that, man. That's not special for this culture, man, honestly. If BA was a guy on a bad team and it was like, look, man, I'm overplaying my contract. We're losing. You guys got to pay me my market rate. That's what losing teams do. It's like, look, we didn't win. This guy's that's the inferred conversation when guys get paid ridiculous amounts of money, is that we're not necessarily good enough as an organization to tell you no. And what the market has commanded, either we pay you or we completely have to start from ground zero to fill your spot. And we much rather play ball with who you are right now, especially because of who you are on our team and our culture, where you stand, and the fans love you. We have to always be virtue signaling towards winning. And us not paying you will not only hurt us, but it would bury the younger players that are trying to get to your level and possibly build a team. So yes, we are going to pay you. It's a culture thing, but that's not the Niners. And that's what I mean with how BA is approaching this. Like, he's approaching this like we just didn't come out of the Super Bowl. Like, we're some wayward team that absolutely cannot live without his services. That's not facts. It's just not. You know, BA is all amazing, but is his skill set, can his skill set be replicated? Yes. And you know what? What's even crazier about it is that it's going to happen the way we always do it with the Niners. It's going to be outsourced, right? Instead of D Ford, we'll get Samson Ebukam and Charles Omenihu, right? We'll outsource it. Can't get BA, we'll have Cowing and Pearsall. You know what I'm saying? These aren't all things that I want to do. These aren't all things that I'm like, let's just get it done. Not an issue. No, I don't want to do any of this stuff. But all I'm here to say is that it can be done. And BA's moving like it can't be. Like, he's not like, he could be replaced, man. He could be replaced. And I know that hurts a lot of hearts. That hurts a lot of hearts, man. But BA can be replaced, man. You know, so look, I went a little further than I should have. I didn't expect this entire show to be about a BA thing, but look, I do believe that he should get paid, but there's a difference between asking for a certain amount of money and the way you're asking for a certain amount of money, and kind of like, if he is allegedly not moving off of that number, it's kind of like, all right, now we got to start asking, like, let's level set here. Like, who do you think you are? Like, let us know so we can all be informed. Then we can start from there, because obviously you're moving from a whole different perspective. You know, so right, everybody can be replaced. You know what I'm saying? And especially with what the receiver position is in 2024, man, dime a dozen. It's getting outsourced everywhere. Everybody's got a receiver. You saw this year, receivers going left and right in the draft. It's becoming a main commodity now. Pretty soon, you're going to get to the point where the top 5 is so distinct, because really after top 5, it is kind of a mosh pit of receivers. Right? Even the top 5 is becoming kind of like a unicorn tier. Right, where they're gonna fast food and bastardize that skill set so much that even they're gonna be able to get a 4-2 on call, on demand. That's what it's all about. These guys, for us, this is the crazy thing about this. For us, we want to see the best of the best freak athletes. We want to see, like, you know, amazing talent at all times. And so do certain coaches, and so do certain teams. But you heard Coach Forrester a couple of weeks ago say, oh, no. We don't want those big guys on the offensive line. We want guys that can be able to do the skill set, carry out the game, handle their business, man. These guys want a mediocre product, man, so they can't get fired. That's really what it is, man. You're going to get your coaches that want the best of the best, but a lot of these guys, a lot of these microwave guys that on these schemes, they want to be able to be in the arena. They're 9 to 5 in it. They're turning this stuff into a 401k, bro. They don't want to win, because they know if they push hard enough to go build a team like the rest of the big boys do, they get exposed. You know, and it's a shame. It's a shame, because BA really could be on a team where they see a skill set and they could push him. And this wouldn't even be a discussion, right? Because he'd be on a team where they'd use him hard enough where they say, hey man, you know what you are, you know what you're not. We don't give you any curated routes, and we're not paying anybody. And either you're our number one receiver, we're gonna be able to pay you like our number one guy, or we're gonna move on from you. But it's disingenuous to have a conversation as if we run our team traditionally and then ask for traditional money, and you can't prove why you deserve it. So I'll look at this right here. Hold on, Chris. I'll look at this right here. So for Jess, 49ers issue is they wanted a first rounder for you, but don't want to pay him. It's a contradiction. They overvalue players in a trade and undervalue them in negotiations. If BA can't get a trade done, if the Niners can't get a trade done, then that means that BA can't get a trade done. Them asking for a first round pick for BA is not necessarily them saying that just because he's in the first round, he still deserves $30 million, bro. That's still like the first round is 32 picks, my man. Getting a first round pick for BA still does not constitute the fact that BA that's still him saying, oh, well, if you want a first round pick for him, then why are you surprised that he's asking for first round pick money? $30 million a year. I don't know where that falls in the first round, but I know it's up there. I know it's up there. So I don't want this to turn into a situation where we just, we get in over our skis. Like we don't understand like how we're built. Who's the guy on our team that's making $30 million at receiver? You know what I'm saying? And his name isn't Deebo Samuels. And I don't even think Deebo's going to make it this season. I believe that Deebo may get moved before the season's out. They won't trade BA. I get it. Nothing else to talk about in mid-June. I understand, Joe. But you're here, though. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, like, all right. And I want to hear what this has. I want to hear what this man has to say. Brother Bob really got like so many words. I'm finally get to comment on your wordy screen tag. Like, why? How many characters is this, Bob? All right. JJ's 30 million. Okay, Justin Jefferson's 30 million a year. AJ Brown's 32 million a year. Amon-Ra St. Brown is 30 million a year. Tariq is 30 million a year. Jalen Waddle's 28 million a year. So BA is not as good as St. Brown or Waddle. I think that BA is as good as Jalen Waddle. I don't think that BA is as good as Amon-Ra St. Brown, no. And I think they get more out of Amon-Ra St. Brown in Detroit than they do out of BA. And I think that Amon-Ra St. Brown is utilized as a leader more than BA is for Detroit, meaning that on gotta have it downs, on situational football downs, Amon-Ra St. Brown is much more akin to being able to get the ball when everybody in the building knows he's going to get it over BA. Just being honest. You know what I'm saying? I think that Jalen Waddle money is adequate. I wouldn't mind Jalen Waddle at 28. I think that BA getting paid 28, 27, I wouldn't mind that. You know what I'm saying? Thank you. And that's at best. BA called himself the fourth choice. He didn't even call himself the third. It's levels, man. I just don't see it. I think he needs to get paid. He deserves to get paid, but 30? And the way you asking for it, I wouldn't do it. Not I, said the cat. I wouldn't do it. Thank you. Yeah. All right. Tell somebody to quibble over your money. So we're quibbling over 0.5% of the salary cap. All right. I'm just telling you, man. And that's what, you know what? And this is what's crazy is that if you just look at the raw number, all right, cool. We're quibbling over 0.5% of the salary cap. But at the same time, Jesse, this right here should let you know that it's not necessarily all about the number. This proves more of what I've been saying. Because of the fact that it's such a small amount of the cap and we're still at this impasse. I believe that the way BA has gone about asking for this money or proving that he deserves his contract has put a real damper on negotiations and communication. I really do. Yeah, I think this is a sweet spot too. I think 28 is a sweet spot. I really do, Diz. You know? And on top of it, I think that, damn. This is a question. Okay. So let me ask you guys this, because maybe you guys can educate me. Okay. Hold on. So let me ask you guys this. So who is the last big contract that the Niners have had that we signed where that player did not have a good relationship with Kyle Shanahan? Who's the last player that got paid, right? Because George and Kyle are good. Debo and Kyle are phenomenal. Trent called Kyle to tell him, like, yo, I'm about to sign with the Chiefs if you don't get this done. Nick Bosa kept his mouth shut, and they were basically waiting to get that deal done. Fred Warner got his deal done, right? Like, who's the last player to come into his second year and come under this and move this way, and they got their bag? Jimmy? Yeah. Maybe Jimmy. Jimmy's the last guy. And on top of it, Jimmy had the building backing him, right? Because at this time, we had done the whole Nick Mullins and CJ Beathard saga, right? So the whole building was kind of begging Kyle to get his guy, right? And they pounced on it on top of the fact that Jimmy had John's support too. So even though Kyle wasn't necessarily over the moon about Jimmy still had a lot of support in the building, right? But if we had to think about this, even with Adam Peters gone, right? And everybody's gone, who would be advocating for BA in the building right now? Like in the front, like give me a coach, give me a front office guy. Who's advocating for BA inside of the building? Or is this BA just against the entire organization right now? If this was about BA getting his money, if he had a good relationship with Kyle, I don't think that they would have been so. The veracity on trying to move on from BA and going to go get Ricky Pearsall and trying to go specifically go get Justin Jefferson. Hey, look, when people tell you that business isn't personal, they're lying. There's nothing more personal than business. Business is personal, bro. You work with who you like. I'm sorry. It's just the truth. You work with, I don't care about credentials. You can have the best resume in the world. You work with who you like. It's that simple. So my thing is that I ain't feeling the love. Yeah. I feel that way too. I think it's BA against the building. I feel that way as well. Yeah. The fact that he got buried in the doghouse has a lot to do with this whole situation. Yeah. And I feel like the fact that he got buried in the doghouse and BA's moving with the energy of, think about this. When you're in the doghouse, what was the overarching theme with that whole year, right? It was Brandon Ayuk does not know how to be a professional yet. Does anybody remember that? You guys remember that? It was he needs to learn how to practice. BA doesn't run down the field all the time. He doesn't block. Sometimes his effort is off. I remember at one point they were talking about BA not running routes hard enough, being able to run routes when you know you're not going to get the ball. You guys remember that? And it was all about BA had his rookie year, which was his COVID year, and he got so many opportunities that rookies don't customarily get, and he basically was feeling himself coming into his sophomore year, and Kyle basically put the hammer down on him because now it was time for the entire team to have a full camp. Am I tripping about this? Does anybody remember this whole storyline? Right? And it was a while. Game after game. Why isn't BA in? BA was getting sat, not playing. And I know that now that BA is coming up on his contract, what's the number one thing that BA is bringing up in press conferences? And not press conferences, but in interviews. I'm a pro. I'm professional. I show up. I work out. I'm here every day. You know, I do everything. Nobody outworks me in the building. I listen to these interviews that he's been having, bro. And I do get the gist that he's keeping the same energy. I feel like he's coming from a standpoint of like, you know what, you guys jumped on me and really tried to make me look bad, tried to almost end my career before it started because you guys tried to stifle my talent by saying that I wasn't a pro because we had a full year and Debo was back. And all this time, I've been waiting for me to come to you guys when it's time for me to get my bag and tell you that you're paying me every red cent that you owe me. You're going to pay me. And that's the energy. That's the energy I feel. That's why I feel like he doesn't want to come off of his number. I really do. And I think that he also understands what the implications of him getting paid that money is, but he doesn't know that the Niners see that too. And it's like, bro, you asking for $30 million is essentially saying that you want your teammate cut. You can say, you can act coy and say, oh, I just want to get paid what's mine. But my man, stop acting like you don't know how to count. You know Brock's got to get paid. You know we just paid Nick, all right? And you also know that we just paid Christian. And Christian at that time didn't even get paid yet, but we had Christian paid. You asking for $30 million right now is you essentially asking for us to cut Debo. And we're not going to do it. These guys talk, man. You think so all of a sudden because we play together and my numbers are a certain number and your numbers are a certain number. You don't think, I mean, Christian McCaffrey, Josh Jacobs, the running backs just admitted it a couple of years ago. Yeah, we all got in a chat. And started talking about Who's going to get paid? Who's going to push for what? Who's going to come under who? Whoa, Paul. Wow, that was wild. Who's going to come in to get their negotiations under who? Because it's got to be tiered. That's the way it works. In order for you guys to push a market up, everybody has to systematically move a notch together. There can't be a gap in the chain, or that's going to be the weak link that's going to push the market all the way back down. So that means that the best guy he's got to ask for the most money, because the second the best guy can say, look what this guy just got paid. Now I'm no less than maybe 2 million off of that. Then the third best guy can come in, and then you build a condensed platform where everybody rises. Right? So with receivers, it's the same exact way. I'm going to wait until you get paid. I'm going to sit back and try to see how far the ceiling gets pushed so I can come back and start resetting the floor on what my other colleagues have gotten paid. So if you can do the math and understand why players like to wait to see why other players are getting paid, then why can't you do the math and understand why certain players ask for certain money while teammates are there? They can't just be smart one way. Right is right all the way around the world. BA asking for that $30 million is essentially saying that I don't care if Debo is here or not. I know you're going to pay Brock. I know that. But I want to be the highest paid receiver here. I believe that I am the best receiver here, and I want to get paid like the best receiver here. And I think that conversation is, I think that conversation is kind of offending the Niners. It's offensive to them. Dude, I have no idea, Cosmo. I'm not trying to say I don't necessarily think he should have took the first offer, but I feel like there's an ebb and flow to negotiations where you go in high, I come in low, right? You come off of a number, I come off of a number. You know, you show me a little bit of compromise, right? But if there's got to be a floor of we have to both send over gestures of being honest brokers, right? In negotiations, like, hey, I really want to make this happen. You really want to make this happen. But if you are saying a number and you literally won't come off that number, and there's implications behind that number, you see what I'm saying? I feel like if you're the Niners, you're frustrated. You know what I'm saying? Hold on, Niner gang. Hold on, bro. So all I'm saying is that, you know, Leon Sandcastle, dope name. He says, I'm low-key worried about Louis Rees-Zammit being on the Chiefs. He's working in wide receiver and running back and returns after being a star rugby player. I mean, that's cool, man. There's always some like austere, weird guy that comes in. So I will say this. We're going to understand exactly where this whole BA situation stands. I didn't know this was going to turn into a BA conversation. But right now, what we're going to do right now is try to close out. My bad, Niner game. We're going to close out, bro. Yeah. But being able to hold your water, man, and understand that, you know, there's no place for a guy to get paid $30 million at receiver here outside of what Debo's skill set does. That doesn't mean that BA is either any less player than what he is. That doesn't mean that he doesn't deserve his money, but just not here. Flat out. And I hope it happens. I really do. But for the time being, I'd be surprised if he shows up for camp. And on top of that, I'd be surprised if the Niners waive those fines. And that's also telling, too, the fact that they won't waive those fines or they haven't mentioned that they will. That's something to be looked at as well. You know? So, look, man, there's a lot of different ways that this could shake out. I'll tell you this right now. I think oddly enough, receiver is kind of like our least worried about positions right now. It really is our offensive line and our defensive line and our secondary. Right? Our front seven. What are we going to do? What are we going to do with this front seven? Right? I have no idea. We seem like to be a sum of all parts. And right now, is what we have on defensive line even an upgrade? Is it even an upgrade for what we have? Right? Eric Armstead wasn't himself. He was half of what he was, what we've known him to be in recent years with plantar fasciitis, which is a degenerative injury. Trent Baalke, once again, let him off the hook, paid a bag for no reason. But is the defensive line an upgrade or a downgrade? Right? Is it an upgrade or a downgrade? You know? And where's it going to stand when it's time to... Where are things going to stand? Where are things going to stand when we start looking at joint practices again, preseasons again, and we start looking at that run game being shaky? So, look, man, I thank you guys for rocking out with me. It was a good one. We are going to get this situation together with this audio. We're close. But this is the coach, man, signing off. Stay low and keep your feet moving, man.